with? Like, which top 50 players do you actually roster, Matt, in
So
your
yeah, so
rebuild?
last year I did fire off the number 2 and number 3 picks, in which I took Neighbors and Jaden Daniels. So those are my two cornerstones in this league. I mean, I've got some other pieces that would be probably nice for best ball, but nothing that really puts me anywhere on the map to competing. Though I did acquire Anthony Richardson's, but in this draft, I mean, if you follow my tag here, I was able to get Ibuka at the 109. Um, I was able to get Caleb Johnson at the 111, Jackson Dart at the 112, and then Harvey was sitting there at 202. So I took him there, and then I got insane value on Matthew Golden there at the 206.
Yeah, I know
So
you were hoping hard to get Jaden Higgins there at the 202. That's what you were planning on, at least, that he was going to definitely be available for you, but unfortunately he wasn't. Being a league with a bunch of fellow Texans fans, I'm not personally that shocked it happened, but yes, for him to go, I think it happened kind of because of who you took beforehand. Like, if you had
yeah,
let Dart
I
if
took
you had
Dart,
let
and
Dart
that's
go, maybe Dart would have fell to you at the 202.
no. He would have been taken at
Okay.
201.
Okay.
I had conversations
Okay.
with that owner.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
So, I mean, and you even asked me about it, and I was just like, if your guy you wanted didn't get there, just take the best value then with the
yep.
next player, and that's what you
That's what I
did with
did.
Harvey. I mean,
And
I know
Golden.
you're rebuilding. I know you're rebuilding, but it's not impossible to rebuild just because you have running backs on your roster. I mean, they do carry some trade value, of course, right?
Yeah. So, I
Yes.
mean, look, I was extremely high on Caleb Johnson. Since the end of the regular season last year, I've been high on Caleb. I'm actually glad he slid in most people's rankings and perception because of that 40 time at the combine, because I feel like hitting him at the 111 is such a good deal. um, so I'm happy about that. And I mean, really, I got 5 of the 6 guys in that back end tier, which probably shouldn't happen with the picks I had. So I couldn't be happier about what I gained in those first 5 picks.
Yeah. From my perspective, we only had the 312 and 412, so I'm just kind of watching this from an observer standpoint. Now we finally are on the clock here at the 312, but going back to your picks, Matt, I think that you really hit one with Golden at the 206, in my opinion. Like,
Mhm.
I know that I know that Tyler Shook now is looking like he's got a much better chance at starting in New Orleans, but to go as with the 204, I mean, you really, when you're drafting Shook at the 204, you're just drafting him because you're gonna keep him. Like, you're not gaining. It's gonna be real hard for Shook to rise up to a first rounder in value. You're not drafting him looking to trade him like you would maybe if you grabbed him late second, early third. Um, yeah, I don't know. Your other option there may have been Tootin or Luther Burden. Honestly, those would have been the two other options there. But with Golden still there, I mean, Golden has gone as high as, geez, the 108. I think he went early on. Now that was in a draft with a few Packers fans, and
Mhm.
that was like 2 days after. Well, no, it was Monday, so whatever. 3 days after he was drafted in the
Yeah.
first round on Thursday night, with all the excitement of Packers fans getting a first round receiver finally. I wasn't shocked that he went that high in that league. But Golden is one who I've seen slowly settle in now, somewhere in the 201 to 204 range, roughly. I think the initial Ibuka drafting by the Buccaneers um, kind of turned people off of him, and he was going in the 201, 202 range even in some drafts earlier, but now he's gone back to being, in my opinion, like you could take him at 107 or 108, honestly. Most drafts it's 108 or 109. It's either him or Jackson Dart goes there. I don't know what your observations have been on Ibuka, because you
I haven't
grabbed
been
him
able to get
there.
my hands on him. I'll put it that way until this draft. So he's been going everything I've seen in the first round, anywhere from, gosh, I guess 106 to 109, maybe something like that. That's where I see him falling. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely depends how high the people are on the running backs, because like some of the leagues, all 6 of the big running backs, they go in the first 9 picks, right?
Yeah.
You'll get those 6, and then Hunter and Tet along with Cam Ward, and those will be your first 9 picks, right? And then Ibuka will go 10. But you can see in this draft how it unfolded. We did have the 2 tight ends go in the first, and they went at pick, what, 8 and 10?
8 and
Are
10.
you Are you surprised at that?
I mean, this is a half-point tight end premium league, so not overly shocked. I mean, this is where they're slotted in a lot of rookie draft ranks. I mean, they're right there in the top 12. I can't argue with it. I'll put it that way. I don't know what everybody's rosters look like that took them, but well, I do know that Tyler Warren at the 110. I know that owner has Trey McBride, but again, you can flex out multiple tight ends. And I mean, Warren could hit. I'm not drafting tight ends in the first round of any draft, unless I know it's Brock Bowers coming again. That's just
Yeah,
it, you know.
right. I think you and I are on the same page with those two. We both like them as players. They're good players. It's just fantasy-wise, it's hard to see them getting to that Brock Bowers, Trey McBride elite level. I think for me personally, if I had to pick one, it would be Warren, just because of his competition there in Indy versus what Loveland has to go up against in Chicago. Like, Loveland already has a decent tight end. He's battling himself right there in Chicago. Cole Kmet's not trash. And then the receivers, as well as the running backs, trying to catch passes there in the Ben Johnson offense. Now, Ben Johnson did draft Sam Laporta, and this is who he envisions as his Sam Laporta. But Warren, with his big college stat line and Indy and their quarterback troubles, I mean, you can look at it and say, well, Indy might have a completely different starting quarterback next year, right? I mean,
Or in 2 years.
Or even in 2 years, right? And so it depends how long you want to play it with Loveland. If you're in a major rebuild, or Warren, I mean, if you're in a major rebuild, I don't mind taking either of them, but that would be something of having like 4 or 5 draft picks in the first 13 or 14 picks. I'm looking at it like to draft one of those guys. I'm just seeing good talent later on at tight end in Mason Taylor, Ferguson, and Fannin, as well as Elijah Arroyo yet to be taken here. Those 4 guys are all solid players, and any of which
that sounds like a great pick for you right now on the clock, Arroyo.
Oh, we got Kelsey's playing 5 more years. Come on.
Oh.
I mean, he's gonna break up and have nothing else to do with his life.
Feel free to try to lie to me. Don't lie to our viewers. Come on now.
I don't want Elijah Arroyo.
Okay. All right. But, I mean, look, to speak to your point, though, look, no tight end was taken in the second round. And because of that, in the third round, between the 4 that we just named, that's a great value, especially if you're utilizing KTC as your scoring or at least your baseline to make decisions. all four of those guys rank higher than some of the guys that have been picked in front of them. So there's, there's an argument there. I like the value of grabbing. Well, I took Terrence Ferguson, who's got clear path to start immediately in an offense that will throw the tight end balls. So, and he's catching passes from Stafford. Harold Fannon's a heck of an athlete. Njoku's hurt all the time, and he's on the last year of his deal. So that's not a bad pick either. And then Mason Taylor, again, what's his competition? Stone Smart? So they're great values there is my point.
Right. Mason Taylor actually has the most direct line of any of the tight ends in this draft. 2 targets. Like, who is he battling for targets? Malachi Corley? I mean, Garrett Wilson can get a 40% target share, and there's still looks for some other players there in New York. Yeah. I mean, even if Justin Fields is only throwing it 15 times a game, there's still, 8 or 9 passes going somewhere else other than Garrett Wilson. So if Mason Taylor's the starter out the gate and he's looking good for the Jets, there's going to be big hype on him, I think, come August. In like redrafts, as him being one of the sneaky tight ends to take in like larger leagues. So he probably, if any of the 4 could separate themselves, I think he might be the one that could separate himself from the pack of those. I still don't know that he goes as high as Warren or Loveland in a redraft scenario. But yeah, he definitely has the quickest path to targets right away. So Max Morris there with a solid pick, in my opinion.
I mean, really, if you're a tape guy, kind of like I am, I mean, you'll notice that Taylor could have been used so much more than he actually was at LSU. So I think he's a lot better than given credit for. You just see that he wasn't utilized fully in an offense that could have utilized him more. So, I think that's a great assessment and a great pick for that owner.
Yeah, so if we go down the board here, we can look at teams one by one quickly. Scoopadopoulos, he had the worst record or lowest max points. And so he had the top pick. He traded away Genty and got, I'm trying to think what he got from.
He got Dontavian Wicks, Marvin Harrison, another piece, and then
Marvin Harrison was the main piece there. How do you feel about trading Genty for Marv? Do you think let's say in Scoop's position, does that make sense because he's rebuilding, like to get out of the running back and go into the wide receiver? Traditionally, that is the right move.
It's the right move. I think he could have gotten more, but I think in essence he got what he wanted, which was Marvin Harrison, and then Break Yourself got what he wanted, which is another running back because he's strong there, and he's going to build on that. I mean, it's a win for both guys based on what they're doing, but I do feel Scoop could have gotten more out of that deal. But,
So I think he could have gotten more, but he did get what he wanted. He's a believer in Harrison, and I am still too. He's obviously dropped like a tier in the wide receiver rankings for now. But honestly, the dude has 1 or 2 good games in the first 2 or 3 games this year, and he's going to bounce right back up to be valued right with Brian Thomas. It's not going to take much for him to move back up, whereas some other guys, it's going to be tougher for them to move up. Like Garrett Wilson could have some good games, but it's going to still be harder for him to move up because he's had a couple of seasons where he's been what he has, and he's got Justin Fields tied to him, whereas Kyler Murray is known as a little better of a, he's a better passer than Justin Fields.
Correct.
Put it that way. So Scoop, his team is pretty pretty thinned out. He went bare bones on his rebuild all the way down to the studs. He's sitting on Penix, and I'm not sure what other assets other than Marv
He's got Jaden
that he
Reed.
has. Jaden Reed.
And he's got Brock
Jacoby
Bowers,
Myers. Oh, yeah, he's got Bowers sitting there. So he's got Marv, Judy, and Jacoby Myers, as well as Brock Bowers. So he's got a good stable there. Judy, we'll see whether that's more of a trade piece that he has or he hangs on to him. Judy, it's interesting. Like, he came on last year, obviously, and had whatever, depending on your league format, I think it was like a ranked 9th in this league he ended up. But he's younger than kind of the consensus feels, right? I mean, he's the same age as Ceedy and Jefferson.
Yeah, it's just I think he was such a disappointment for the first few years that it's just left a nasty taste, and people are like, oh, he's just washed. And most people, when you hear washed, you think old or older. And so I can see that. But, I mean, if you look at the picks he's made along the way in this draft, trading up back into the first to get Travis Hunter, got some, you got Tootin and Sampson there, but getting Kyle Williams and Jack Besh are pretty good grabs late in the second. I mean, I've made it known how I feel about Besh. I think he's a heck of a grab. So, I mean, he's built the receivers up the way he wants to. I know he's excited about that.
Yeah, after the second tier of wide receivers, if you will, the top tier and Hunter and Tet, and then Egbuka's kind of in his own tier. Then you've got that run of Higgins, Harris, Golden, and Burden are sort of in, those four are in a tier now at wide receiver. After that, though, he, in my opinion, definitely got the next two best wide receiver dart throws, if you will, in Kyle Williams and Jack Besh. They definitely look that way, at least where they were drafted, right? That kind of pick doesn't always pan out, like Jalen Polk and Javon Baker last year. These guys aren't first-round wide receivers for a reason. Okay, if they were that good, they would have been drafted in the first round. But that said, I mean, Jack Besh, there's a line to playing time. We'll put it that way. Now, whether that pans out to Hunter Renfrow type numbers or it becomes Alec Pierce type numbers, we'll see. Both of those guys are similar in that they were good blockers and they're good players, so they got a lot of playing time. Now it's just a matter of, are there enough targets available for somebody like Besh? And the same kind of bodes true for Kyle Williams. I mean, it's a whole new offense there in New England. And Josh McDaniels knows what he's doing when he's an offensive coordinator, at least. And whether he can turn Drake May into Tom Brady or not, that's a different story. But if he can get anywhere close to Brady, that would be a great thing for the Patriots. It's just, what does their wide receiver room become? There's a lot of names there, and who knows which guy gets the Wes Welker, Edelman type role over the middle there. It could be Kyle Williams, could be Kayshon Boutte. We'll see. But I like Kyle Williams. He's been buried on the sleeper board, so it kind of depends on your league mates who you're drafting against as to how high he goes in drafts. This is about the range, though, where he was taken here, where I think he should be getting drafted, like ahead of Jalen Noel. I like Noel. I liked him more than Kyle Williams pre-draft, but now with opportunity, talent-wise, they're very similar players. They both can play in the slot. They both can play on the outside, both good route runners. I mean, they're almost twins, to be honest. It's just that there is an actual line to being the wide receiver one on his team in Kyle Williams' case. So you think Noel, I mean, is that a good spot? Is he going a little too high there in the second round? I don't know.
I think end of the second, beginning of the third is probably a good placement for it. That would make the most sense. So I don't have a problem taking it at the 212.
Do you like
I'm high
Jalen
on
Royals
Noel
more
too.
than him?
So, do what?
Do you like Jalen Royals more than Noel right now?
Um, Man, that's tough. I like Jalen Royals because he gets an opportunity to play right out the gates. I mean, I think if he has good rookie mini camp, he goes through OTAs and the offseason program and doesn't get hurt, looks good. I mean, he's going to have opportunity to perform because of Rishi Rice. We don't know where he is on the injury front. Far as I mean, you see him work out, but I think we all know that that's great. That's not like playing actual football, though. So I think he'll have an opportunity to perform and solidify himself into a role, even when Rishi comes back. Plus, there's the suspension looming over his head. So, I mean, Rishi could theoretically miss half the season. So I think Royals has the opportunity to produce out of the way a little bit easier than Noah will.
Yeah, I agree. I think they both, like, Noel has more of a defined role. He's going to play the Tank Dell role, so I like that. It's just that there's kind of a ceiling cap there, barring an injury. Like, Nico goes down again, then I mean,
Or it's an easier one just to say Christian Kirk can go down. If that happens, he's going in. If he's looks like he's ready to go, so and it's not like Kirk doesn't get hurt. I mean, what did he do last year in Jacksonville that was so exciting? Outside of getting hurt,
Oh,
So,
I think that Noel and Higgins can both pass him in training camp, and Kirk just goes in as the wide receiver 4. Now I could be totally wrong, and the coaching staff just leans more towards the veteran to start things out. But I think Kirk really just becomes more of an injury safety type veteran on a good team that's just there as a body. Whereas Noel and Higgins are more explosive at this point in their careers, being that they're younger.
Well, see, the other thing too is Kirk was traded for what, a 7th round pick or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Kirk, to me, this is what I see, and I'm a Bucs fan, so this is what I see. He's Sterling Shepard. That's what he is.
Yeah, there you go. Because I mean, look, just in this draft, 2 rookies come in with way more investment than he does. So
exactly.
I don't see him as big of an obstacle, but like you said, maybe they lean on the veteran so the young guys can kind of see a little bit in-game action. And but I see Noel getting into the top 3 receivers at some point this year.
Yeah. All right, so we talked about Scoop's team. Then we go to for the brand here. He doesn't have any picks this year. He's in a big time rebuild.
He's got the 403 coming up.
He does have the 403. We'll see what he can maneuver out of that. But yes,
he did have the 212, but he traded out of it. So
I can't remember what he ended up getting for that. It just happened this morning.
I think it's a 26 second.
Oh yeah, okay. Which is a solid bet that pick is higher than the 212. I mean,
yeah, I know he's all in on next year's class, so I know he's trying to stack up as much as possible for 26.
Right, and as long as he has his own 26 first,
he does,
and he does. Okay, so
that's
that's a great plan. Then he's doing the right thing. He's just got to stay the course, and trust the process, as Dynasty Daddy says, right?
That's right.
All right, then we're on Crack-Horror here. Now, Crack-Horror was super active early on. As you see here, he was able to maneuver his way into your pick by giving up his 2 future firsts. Then he took Cam Ward with his own pick, and then moved back up into Tet McMillan. Now, I personally don't love the move that he made with you to take Omarion Hampton. I thought he was going to take Hunter by doing that and go the wide receiver route, but he decided to go running back. I mean, it's a running back heavy class, and that's where the talent is. I get it. And then he still ended up with Tet at the 206 there, or 106. So I guess, he got one wide receiver at least to build his team up with. And then he grabbed Jalen Milroe, a nice dart throw here at the 207. We know how explosive Milroe could be if he does get the opportunity, actually. His quarterback room, he was just sitting on Bryce Young. So now he's got Cam Ward with Young, and that's probably why he wanted Tet, because he has Bryce Young. So that makes sense on top of it. Running backs, he had Chuba, so he better buy some Panthers gear, because that's what he's buying into here. And then his wide receiver room, though, is Jordan Addison and
still do something
right now.
Cortland Sutton is coming off a great year. Shahid's a great best ball guy to have. He's got Downs, who's not bad, and he's got Jordan Addison again. Not
so he's got some guys who could. Yeah, he's definitely got some guys who could step up, like Downs, Shahid, Sutton, and Coleman. They all have the chance to do something, for sure. So if he's looking to try and contend, I just don't like doing that where he's now given up his
future
firsts in 26 and 27 already. That's not the route I like to go about things, but we'll see how it plays out for him.
Yeah.
All right, then we've got Lord Swifty, and he stayed the course with his 105 pick and took Travion. Solid pick at the 105 for him. The rest of his team is looking like this. He's got Jordan Love and Stafford at quarterback, with Daniel Jones waiting in the wings. Bucky, James Cook there at running back, with Travis Etienne still there. Then at wide receiver, he's got Rasheed, Tyreek, T. Higgins, Nico, and Puka. So definitely no slouch there, along with George Kittle. I mean, he's probably got the closest wide receiver room to compete with my wide receiver room for sure in the league, with having Rashee Rice, Nico, T. Higgins, and Puka. I mean, that is strong. And then you still have Tyreek hanging out there as well. Swifty, if all things fall right and Stafford stays healthy, as does Jordan Love, I mean, he's got a solid squad. For him to finish on the outside of the playoffs looking in last year was just, a lot of injuries happened to hit him. Did he make another pick yet? No, that was it.
He's got the 405, and that's it.
405 coming up. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then we get to Max Morris here, who has been quite active.
Now, Max was actually sitting there in the 106 and was able to trade back, gain a future second, and still get the running back that he had eyes on. So he made a nice move there in the first to get Judkins, because he got his guy and he got a future second. It's pretty good.
Right.
And I know he's stoked about Loveland. Trey Harris is a good grab where he got him based on, just depends on what you like, I guess.
Right. That would have been my pick. I mean, that's just the guy I like out of that tier of receivers. That's all it is.
I mean, at that point, it's an opinion question on Golden, Harris, Higgins, and Burden. Higgins was gone. So, I don't have any issue there. He gets Jalen Noel, trades back into the 12th to get Jalen Noel. I know he didn't like his 303 pick, but he took it, I guess, more on the value.
Yeah. Sure.
But then he gets Mason Taylor, who
Yeah.
we both agree is really good. And then is a great running back. He just lands behind JT. That's it.
Yeah.
Who's
Which
not there
isn't bad,
forever.
because think about it. I mean, JT misses 4 or 5 weeks. That's 4 or 5 weeks you can start Giddens.
Correct. Correct.
So, I mean, he's a hell of a player that, will get the majority of the touches, at least we think, when Taylor is out. Who knows how many touches he gets when Taylor's playing? Probably not that many. But he is waiting in the wings there. And, I mean, Indy is a run-first team. So,
Yeah.
both with the running backs and the quarterbacks. So, yes, I love that these two picks, especially Taylor and Giddens. The Sanders pick, I'm not big on it, but whatever. At that point in the draft, in a third rounder to get somebody that could easily make himself a second round value in Sanders.
Yeah.
Plus, with his quarterback room here, he's got Kyler, May, and McCarthy. Like, he doesn't. If Sanders hits, then that frees up one of these quarterbacks too to use, maybe to trade and keep Sanders. So
plus, you got the media pumping Sanders up like he's killing it in rookie mini camp.
Oh yeah, right.
And look, dude, I watched some of the rookie mini camp. At best, I would call it even between he and Dylan Gabriel. Take your opinion on the quarterback however you want. Dylan Gabriel's look just as good, if not better than him. So, I mean, I feel like the media is hyping it up so that they don't have to deal with Dion's commentary after the fact. So,
yeah, the less we hear from Dion, the better, I think.
It's Lamar Ball all over again, dude. It's so annoying. It is very annoying because you can't even get to the root of what's actually happening. So you just got to watch it yourself and make your own decision on that one. I'll tell you this much.
Right.
Dylan Gabriel's got a higher draft capital invested in him, and that's a crowded quarterback room. And to be honest, I really want no part of that quarterback room. None. So, unless I can score someone like Dylan Gabriel late in the 4th round. And then it's a dart throw, and I'm okay with that. So, I mean, guess so is the 3rd round, to be honest. But anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of shares of it, but it's just holdover shares from owning Joe Flacco, really.
Yeah.
And Kenny Pickett. Like, I have one team where that is currently my quarterback 2 and 3 situation. I'm coming out of a rebuild there.
Yeah, dude, there's...
But I happen to have both of them, so now I have 2 of the 4 Cleveland quarterbacks, and I did not want to draft either of the rookies then on top of it, because that's just too much for a situation now that could pay off. I mean, it's not like Cleveland doesn't throw the ball.
Right. But they have just reinvested into that backfield. So there's that
sure.
to consider.
Yeah.
And I think we both agree, though, having a stockpile of quarterbacks, if your roster can afford it, isn't a bad thing. Because of all the injuries that are going to happen, if you have the right backup, well, you've got instant trade cred now. You can go and sling that guy on the open market for teams that are trying to make sure they get into the playoffs or have that quarterback that they now need to stay in contention. So there's nothing wrong with that. I think we both agree with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love rostering as many backup quarterbacks and running backs as possible just for that reason alone. Because those kind of backup positions, you actually get immediate volume with, whereas at wide receiver, one injury doesn't necessarily pump you up into, like, if Nico Collins goes down, neither Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel is getting 10 targets a game, right? They're just going to kind of eat into each other. They'll both be worth
more
owning.
Targeted, but it's not like bringing in another quarterback that takes every snap.
No, you don't handcuff a wide receiver, in other words, but you can handcuff your quarterbacks and running backs. And there it is. Prestige worldwide with their first selection of the Bottom Line League Draft 2025, takes Ollie Gordon, running back from Oklahoma State, the top running back going into last season after winning the Doak Walker Award in 2023, plummeting his way down the boards in the 2024 season, and now we scoop him up at the 312. Ollie Gordon, an interesting pick by the Dolphins. I didn't quite understand it immediately when they picked it, but then I understood it a little more when analyzing their backfield and the fact that they really don't want Tua doing any goal line sneaks. It makes more sense to grab a big body like Gordon so that they can alleviate some goal line work from Devon Achane. I don't know, your thoughts on Ollie Gordon there? Obviously, you wanted him.
He was in my queue for the reasons you just highlighted. They're not doing quarterback dives at the goal line. They probably don't want Achane trying to dive at the goal line. So there's a lot of touchdown upside with him. And let's not forget, he was as we went into last season, Ollie Gordon was way up on people's draft boards for this draft. And for whatever reason, he has slid a long way. But it's not like he can't produce. I think Miami got good value on it, and I think there's good value in holding him on your roster for that. When did Achane go a full season without missing games in the last 2 years? Hasn't done.
That's correct. That's correct. And I think Ollie Gordon's just a better running back than Jalen Wright. I'll put it out there. I mean, Jalen Wright's
less explosive, but yeah, I would.
They're different types of running backs. Put it that way. Yeah. They're definitely different. But let's say Achane goes down with a high ankle sprain for a month. I think that they're probably going to split the carries somewhat. Yep. But Gordon will be the one getting the goal line opportunities, and so
Wright's going to have to score on a pass play or on further out. We'll say.
Right. So you took my guy and Brashard Smith the pick earlier, and so I had to deal you back with one. Now I say it's my guy Brashard Smith, but you were the one that was initially in on him. You were talking about him way back at the Senior Bowl, and we both went into the combine with high hopes on Brashard, and he performed well. And then as this class is basically, he still slid to the 6th round, but great opportunity there.
Seventh round pick.
7th round, geez. So, but we both know, great opportunity there for Brashard Smith in Kansas City to take on at least the Jerick McKinnon role. He's just got to prove to Pat Mahomes that he can pass block, really, which is why Jerick McKinnon was in there. All of those snaps. I mean, when McKinnon was there, I think he took at least 50% of the running back snaps. It was like Pacheco was in on 1st and 2nd down, but anytime it was 3rd down or they were in the red zone, McKinnon was the guy. And if Brashard Smith can get those money touches, and let Pacheco pound it or Kareem Hunt pound it inside the 20s and then bring in Brashard, and hell, he's worth the 3rd or 4th round dart throw. I shocked at how many leagues I've been able to have the opportunity to bid on him after the draft.
You outbid me in one league because I didn't want to just toss a ton of fab right out the gates, but that might have been a mistake on my part. I'll tell you this too, with Brashard Smith, he played wide receiver at Miami, and he converted at SMU. So there is a possibility they could run both running backs out at the same time and then split him out on formation. There's a lot of usage with Brashard Smith and his skill set, much like a Tyrone Tracy, right? So he's Tyrone Tracy 2.0. A little less draft capital, but I feel like he's better than Tyrone Tracy too.
Yeah, so. I agree there. And with Andy Reid's offensive mindset and the way he likes to maneuver guys around, especially inside the red zone, I could see Brashard Smith being a perfect fit for them there inside the red zone there. Then we had Scoop jumping in, right? That's Scoop. Yep, he jumped in on Elijah Arroyo, as we just talked about, diving into the tight end room there. Yeah, we just didn't want to waste another roster spot on a tight end, honestly. We got Kelsey and Pitts. Neither is fantastic, but neither is a zero either. So we just, I don't know. We'll wait for tight end until next year, I guess. We'll just roll with Kelsey and Pitts for now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, run it till the wheels run off. When you have your receivers, you don't have to put too much investment into that tight end spot.
No. So back to looking at the squad. So we went over Max Morris's team. Then we've got Mark here
picks.
at
4-8.
No picks at all. Yeah, until the 408 here for Mark. Mark's sitting on an older squad. He was very competitive the first couple of seasons in this league. Still squeezed into the playoffs last year, but he's kind of on the downswing. And he's been throwing all sorts of his guys out there on the block trying to get something done. Probably will have to wait.
Some of my picks for some of his studs, and I'm like, unless you give me an absolute deal, like I can't do it. Because I will bankrupt myself taking all your studs, and I still don't think I have enough to actually compete. So even if we had Josh Allen and A.J. Brown, who else does he have there?
He's got the Hurts Brown. Well, he's got the Hurts Brown stack.
Yeah, even if give me Hurts and Brown, I still don't have enough to go toe-to-toe. Not depth-wise, I don't. So, I mean, yeah, I've got 2 top 7 guys in Daniels and Neighbors. And I got some good guys in this draft, but like, I look at your team, I look at Break Yourself, and I look at the People's Champ. I'm just not there. And if I want to be there, I got to be able to comfortably say I could knock off one of these guys, or both, or all 3, or I got a shot to beat them, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to at least get yourself into. We're going into what, year 4 now, so this is the point where it really starts separating itself, and yeah, you got to get at least into the top 4, maybe 5, to consider yourself a contender. Because we all know it's still fantasy football. It's a weekly game, right? I had a couple of teams last year where I was the 1 seed and lost in the semifinals. So, and then I have had teams that were the 6 or 7 seed even and get to the championship. So it's still a 1 week type game, but obviously your odds are much better if you're one of the top 3 seeds going into the dance.
Right.
Yeah. So after Mark's team, we got King Dong, Kyle there in a similar situation, older competing team. Now he's looking to try and sell off some parts. You can look at his team here: Lamar, Tua, Fields, fine at quarterback. Running backs: McCaffrey, Kamara, Connor. Like, this is the murderer's row of
yeah.
The Walking Dead.
He's got like 1 year left on the running backs. It's kind of how I look at it.
And honestly, I mean, think about it. All 3 of those dudes could finish as a running back 1 this year. Not the running back 1, but as a top 12 running back. Kamara, McCaffrey, and Connor, they all could be top 12 backs. Pollard's not terrible either, and we'll see where Chubb ends up signing. Then he's got Javonte Williams still hiding down there too. Then his receiver room is where it gets a little sketchy for sure, because he's just sitting on Evans, Ridley, Waddle, and that's it. So only 3 startable wide receivers at this point. That is a little tough to deal with. And then Njoku and Komet at tight end. So, yeah, Kyle can play it out for the first month and see where he's at. If he's still healthy, then, Maybe he can make a run for it. I know he's pretty much exhausted all of his draft capital, though, and that doesn't help things. But you never know. With injuries, again, it's totally unpredictable, the injuries. And so we'll see. Big Dubs finishing 4th last year. He's had a solid draft considering he just had 3 second-rounders here. He grabbed Higgins and Burden later in the second, along with Tyler Shook. His quarterback situation here, let's see if it fits what I was talking about with Shook. So he's got, Purdy, Nix, and then Russell Wilson. So obviously Russell Wilson's a question mark there as his 3rd quarterback, but really it's just his 3rd quarterback, so whatever. Purdy and Nix are his guys, and that's all he really has to worry about for now. But Shook is good insurance. I mean, he's a good opportunity. Then what is he sitting on? Henry and Gibbs at running back, Rome, Godwin, Kupp, Pittman, Mooney, Pickens, Flowers. So a decent stable of wide receivers. They're all in that wide receiver 20 to 35 range. So definitely can get points out of them. He's just going to need somebody to really pop. Like a healthy Godwin for the whole season could. A healthy Cooper Kupp. Rome definitely could pop. He could be somebody that could move into the top, 10 wide receivers in Dynasty. And then he's got Henry. I mean, Henry could run for 1,900 yards again.
Yeah, he just keeps going.
I joked.
And he went and drafted himself Devin Neal, who's going to have a chance to compete to be in that committee with Alvin Kamara because,
sure.
That's just a little bit. That's a good pick. I mean, I had him on my list. I just went Jaden Blue higher because I feel like that dude's definitely getting in the game this year. So, but he got Higgins and Burden to help with some of the youth injected into his wide receiver room. So it hadn't been a bad run for him based on what he had and how he navigated.
No, not at all. I think he's solid and he's ready to, stay in that top 4 range as long as Nix and Purdy stay healthy. I don't think he'll have a problem.
I will say this: the value he got on Burden makes up for the value he gave up on Higgins. Does that make sense?
For sure. And
and so that helps balance that out big time.
And even taking Tyler Shook at the 204, like most drafts that we've been in, at least you would flip Burden and Shook where they got picked, I think.
Burden, Higgins, and Shook would all be shuffled up. Burden would make more sense at the 201 than Higgins at the 204, and then Shook at the 209. So
absolutely,
he got all 3 of them, so it doesn't really matter.
Right, and when you're talking these guys in the second round, again, they're all being picked here in the second round for a reason, right? I think Harvey's the only guy that fell into the second round here that you were able to get. Harvey's the only guy that's been consistently going in the first.
Correct.
That you can say. Golden, who you also got, has gone in the first as well in a few drafts. So, it's really pick your poison, who you feel better about right now. And you can talk all the way through all these guys in the second round, really. I mean, if you want Bashul Tutin and you want to grab him at the 202, 203, because you like him more than Scattaboo, go ahead. I mean, there's a huge opportunity there for Tutin if he ends up being the guy in the Jaguars' backfield, which many, especially now, I mean, he's really getting hyped up. And I think Travis Hunter being there in camp really helps things out. It's making things very exciting in Jacksonville, even if his coach is kind of a weirdo. But that's a whole nother story for another episode here in the Birdhouse. Yeah. All right, so upcoming we are. Oh wait, you're on the clock here, Matt. Why don't we get a selection out of you? What do you got here to look at? Let's see. Let me make the pick for you, and then see if you agree.
Okay. Let's see what this looks like if you're making that pick.
Okay, if I'm making this pick,
I've already made my decision, by the way. So
Okay, let me see if I'll say who I would take, and then I'll guess who you are going to actually take. We'll do it that way. All right, let me bring the board back up here. All right, so I know you like Gabriel. I don't know if that's who you're going to actually go with, though. Let me slide the board back up. There we go. Okay, so we got Gabriel as an option. Will Howard is an option for sure. At running back, we've got Jordan James, Woody Marks, like those two. And at receiver, Torrey Horton.
Xavier real slow.
Yeah. Hey, don't sleep on Restrepo there. He's got his college quarterback slinging it to him. And then tight end, probably not any of those. Okay, so I would narrow it down. Oh, man, I don't know who you like between James and Woody Marks. You feel like both of them. And then Gabriel
I lean
Howard.
James more just because of the offense he's in and the
Sure.
injury history to McCaffrey and what I just think he's better than Garendo. So I
Yeah,
could see,
he's a right.
Yeah.
He's a better all-around back than Garendo. Garendo fits that system though very well in that home run hitter ability, the one cut style. But James knows that system as well, and I just think he's a better all-around back to begin with. Oof, man. Let me see. Looking
tell
at
me who
your
you think is the best pick here, and then
Let
who
me
you
see.
think I'm going
Looking-
to actually fire off on. me
looking
pull up
at
my,
your roster, who you've picked so far. I'm really messing this board up, aren't I? Here we go. Okay, here we go. You have gone 2 wideouts. You've already gotten 4 running backs, so maybe you're not going to go running back. You got Dart. Who are your quarterbacks on your team?
I've got Jaden Daniels, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, and Sam Howell.
Okay, so, and you grabbed Dart already. I don't know. I'm going to say Will Howard. That's who I would take. Who you're going to take, though, I'll say Dylan Gabriel.
Come on,
Wrong
man.
position?
Let me just fire off the pick.
He got it. I got it right. There we
You
go.
did.
Love
You
some
did.
Will Howard. All right,
Yeah,
great pick
I
there,
mean,
Matt.
look, dude, who's he got to battle right now for the starting job? Mason Rudolph. I mean, look,
Exactly.
he's got adequate enough arm strength. He's more athletic than advertised. And, I mean, he's coming off of a national championship in which he was the MVP. So I know it doesn't always translate, but he's a great quarterback for Pittsburgh. He's a game manager type who's not going to cost you a win. So I could take a better – I could definitely take worse picks here.
Yeah, he's gotten some comparisons to like, what was his name? Scooter Bennett or the guy from Georgia. I
Stetson
forgot. He's
Bennett.
already. Yeah.
He's way better than Stetson Bennett.
Because of the build, right? Because of the build, though, like he wasn't
Yeah.
that great, but he won a college championship, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Will Howard is a much better all around just player. Like he put up good numbers at K-State, then transferred to obviously an abundance of talent at Ohio State, but he was able to do what needed to be done there at Ohio State to get it done. I mean, their only losses were they lost by a point to Oregon just because he misplayed the last 30 seconds of that game where they should have been able to get it
in the playoffs and beat the living tar out of Oregon.
Exactly.
You know? So,
and when it mattered, he won the games. And so, I don't know. I think Will Howard is pretty undervalued here. I've taken him as high as like the 304 or 305 in some drafts. And
I've taken him at the 312 once. So,
what do you think the odds are that Rodgers signs with Pittsburgh? Just throw it out there. 60-40, 80-20?
With no George Pickens, I would say slim to none.
Without Pickens, you think it's worse now?
Yeah, I think his odds are worse of signing there.
That's
I don't know.
interesting.
Because I also think New Orleans would be, if they decide to do it, they can get him cheaper than Kirk Cousins, and they'll give him more money than Pittsburgh will.
Interesting.
Because New Orleans does stupid things with their cap. So
I think it's still about, I'd say, give it a 75% chance that he signs in Pittsburgh, but who knows? It's Aaron Rodgers. It's not.
He may
some
not
kind
play
of
at
thing I
all.
wanna- Right,
You know?
exactly. He might be done. He might. No, trying to predict Aaron Rodgers is just a waste of time. Honestly, you're dealing with a different mind altogether there with Aaron Rodgers. As great as he is at throwing the football, or has been, which he's been one of the best in the history of the league to throw it. He's still just a goofball, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it.
He's entertaining. I'll give him that.
As a football fan, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully that he does, just because I want to be entertained. And I think he obviously definitely probably gives Pittsburgh a better chance to, contend this year than Will Howard or Mason Rudolph would. But if it hits that 25% that I'm talking about and he is not there, do the Steelers then go after Kirk Cousins or something else? Or
I don't think so. They're too conservative for that. His contract.
Just roll these two guys out. I mean, well, if they traded for Cousins, I'm sure they'd make Atlanta eat some of that.
You would have to.
Deal.
You would have to. It's insane, that deal. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think
performed
Atlanta
last year,
just
why
hangs
would
on
you
to
go
him.
and fork that money? Huh?
I think Atlanta just hangs on to it. Honestly, they hang on to him because their whole point in doing what they did last year was so that they kept themselves a strong quarterback room, and they have, we're arguing about this fantasy wise, right? Because we want to see Cousins go somewhere and sling the ball around, but for Atlanta as a franchise, they're in better shape just keeping him.
Yeah.
I mean, money-wise, it might not be, but they're just looking at the quarterback room as a whole. Penix is cheap, Cousins isn't, but as a whole, their quarterbacks, they're paying whatever, $45 million a year.
Yeah.
That's how they're looking at it. I mean, and so I think they want to keep that stability and hope that their draft picks pan out, which they did have a good draft. I'll give them all the credit in the world. They got some good pass rushers in the draft, and so hopefully for their sake it will help them. As a Bucs fan, obviously, I hope it completely falls apart, but that's all fun and games in the NFC South there this year. It's about time for the NFC South now to be the best division in the NFC again. It seems like it's just moving around year to year. 2 years ago, it was the NFC West. Then it was this last year, the NFC North. The East is obviously stacked up, and maybe it'll roll back to the South somehow. I doubt it, but
not this year.
Not this year. Give it a year, and if
two.
Well, the key really, the key is on Michael Penix and Bryce Young. How good can they become?
Right? That's fair.
Because they're the keys to those two franchises right now. How good they become is how those two franchises will roll. Because I think, I mean, from a Bucs perspective, I'm feeling pretty safe and solid about our team right now. Obviously, our wide receivers are old, our better ones, and injuries could happen. But last year it happened, and we still squeaked into the playoffs. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. We haven't mentioned New Orleans, though, Matt. You're looking for a back-to-back 1 in 16 years here, right? So you can grab Arch.
Great.
You can grab Arch's kid, Arch. I mean, grandson.
Arch
yes.
Manning, yeah, grandson. That's if he even comes out next year.
No, that's why I'm saying back-to-back 1 in 16 years. So you have a
you
shot at
guarantee
him. If he doesn't come out as he's seeing you guys at number 1 this year, you're going to double down and go 1 in 16 again. So
If we're number 1 pick this year, I could totally see his grandpa saying, "Go pro." Following grandpa's footsteps and go to the Saints. So.
Oh, man. That was the whole reason he told Eli not to go to the Chargers, though, because he had to deal with a shit organization.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, no, I think this is the year where you try and dig yourselves out of that salary cap situation that you got into with all of those years of winning with Drew Brees, and now, this year and probably some of next year, you'll be paying for it. But if you do it right, you can get out of it quick.
Well, Carr retiring really helps.
Yes,
that sped it up big time.
Absolutely. So. Like, I don't know how that works salary cap wise by him retiring, because he's still got his roster bonus for whatever date in March, but I don't know how much that actually hits your cap, and definitely for the 26 season though, which he was signed for still. You don't have to worry about him there. And I think it's throw your 3 dudes out there and let the best man win right now, a quarterback. And if one of them pans out, if one or the worst one too, if one of them pans out, great. If not, well, you'll just have to use a better draft pick on a quarterback again. I mean, the Cardinals went back-to-back years drafting first-round quarterbacks, top 10 picks with the infamous Josh Rosen season that was so bad. They got rid of him after 1 year. Like, think about it. Zach Wilson made it 2 years with the Jets.
Yeah.
That's how bad Josh Rosen was. Oh, man.
Very true.
Yes.
Funny to see his name still pop up as an available player in fantasy.
Josh Rosen?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Really crazy. Do you think Zach Wilson ends up being the backup or Quinn Ewers in Miami?
I flip a coin.
It's a sneaky thing to think about, right? With Tua's injury, with his concussion injury, it's just not a bad spot.
I mean, I really don't know. Quinn Ewers showed a lot of toughness. I don't think he played a game fully healthy last season. So I think he's an extremely tough kid. I think he's more accustomed to winning, which makes him more attractive to me than a Zach Wilson, who's ridden the bench and lost. That's all he's done. So with that in mind, I'd probably lean towards Ewers just because he's got a winning attitude. That's just all he knows is winning because he's played at Texas. So.
Yeah, I would probably lean Ewers. I mean, I did not like him at all in the draft process, but, I do not like Zach Wilson either.
I really thought Dylan Gabriel was the pick for Miami.
Oh, man, I still don't understand that.
Perfect shot for them to take.
Right, absolutely. But, yeah. So on that low note of Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers, we are glad you were able to join us today, and I hope that somebody picks Quinn Ewers soon in this bottom line league, so I don't have to look at him on the board.
It could be enticing at the 412 if he's still there.
Dude, don't even.
More players though. You don't need a quarterback.
Oh God. Ugh. All right. So, for Matt English, I want to say thank you for joining us today in another episode of our rookie drafts, going on live and tinkering through other people's teams. It's awesome. It's fun. And hopefully you gained something from it for your own drafts. And feel free to Leave any questions in the comments section. Any other questions, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show and check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show for our up-to-date rookie rankings. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. We are on our way to 500 subscribers for the beginning of the 2025 season. That is the goal. All right, Matt, good luck drafting the rest of this league, and we've got more to come for you all the rest of this month of May. Startup season is coming up soon. Good, exciting times. All right, thank you for joining us today, and remember, never stop working.